All right, what's up, everybody? We got I'm back again today, I guess. But yesterday on the last stream, I was talking about the trailer and my truck. My truck broke down. Basically, I was able to diagnose my truck today. I put the fuel gauge on it, and it read like basically 5 psi or 10 psi sometimes, which is not enough, and it really didn't ever even get fuel to the fuel rail. It has like a little release on it, so it pressurizes up and you hit the release, and usually some fuel comes out of that because it pumps fuel into the gauge, and none came out. And so it would just release air. I hadn't used that gauge in about like 10 years or something, so it's just been sitting there. So I wanted to make sure it worked. So I actually hooked it up to my other truck, and that truck read 45 psi. And they're similar. One's an '02 Tahoe with a 5.3 liter, and the one that's broken is the 8.1 liter '01 Suburban. So they have the same body style. That they might even be the same fuel pump. They probably are, or they're very similar. Lots of the parts between these two vehicles are the same. So it's just, I mean, obviously the Tahoe's a half ton or 1500 or whatever you want to call it, and the Suburban is a 3/4 ton. But or I think they have it as like sometimes I have to say it's a 2500 HD to get the right parts at like O'Reilly's. I think at O'Reilly's that's what they have it listed as, because it's weird. It's like some of the parts are for the HD, like that would match the pickup truck HD. Like it's got like full floating axles and yeah. Anyways, but so I think my fuel pump is running. That's the thing. We towed the truck home. Like I got it home. It's in the driveway. It's kind of poking out a little. But and it's not. I didn't get it all the way up in the driveway, but I got it close enough basically. And we can hear the fuel pump running. Like you turn the key on, you stick your ear to the gas tank. So we tried a lot of things. We tried actually, as I'm thinking about this, we tried hitting the fuel tank with the hammer. This is an old trick that sometimes works, but obviously, like I knew it wasn't going to work because the fuel pump was already running, and I know with that trick that works when the fuel pump isn't running. But at that point, I was just trying to get it to drive up another 5 feet just to get all the way in the driveway, but it was worth a try. I was sitting there, and I was filming this too, so I'm going to make a video out of it. So this is what I've decided. This is what happened yesterday. Basically, I got up, I started working on, I did this podcast, and I started working on the trailer. I'm working on the trailer, and my truck's broken. And like my wife's hanging out with me. The kids are at grandma's house, so we're just kind of hanging out all day. And my welder breaks, so it was a roller coaster ride of a day. So the way that it's broken, it still works, but the threads for the tip is just stripped out. Apparently, I stripped it out or something last time, or maybe some weld got in there or something, but I can't get a tip to go in. So I need a new thing. Well, it's a really cheap Harbor Freight welder, and it's just not good. So I'm like, well, I guess I'll just go get a tap set. So I don't have one. I should have one, but with as much stuff as I do, so I mean, that's on the list now of tools to buy. So I'm like, okay. Or I'll just go buy another welder. I mean, that welder was $100, and it's like it's just not good. Like I need to upgrade my whole setup, but but it's flux core, so there's no gas. Which to me, it used to be. It is a positive in some ways because you don't have to like really worry about going and getting your gas filled up all the time. All you have to do is just go get, it's kind of convenient, really. You just get wire, right? And you just turn it on and go. There's less variables, right? You don't have to worry about your flow. Is it working right? Like all that stuff. I mean, I know that's not that big of a deal, but so basically we go to get in the car to go to Harbor Freight, and the car has been, like my wife said, the car had been chugging, but it's been doing this thing for a long time where every once in a while it lets the battery go dead because it's a hybrid, it's a Prius. It lets the battery go dead to the point that you go to hit the accelerator and it doesn't really go that fast. And that's what I thought she was talking about. But what it was it was actually misfiring. So now I'm sitting there and I've got my truck broken, and then the Tahoe is good. It's running, but it needs tires. So I'm just planning on driving that. And now our second car is misfiring. And so I'm like, well, crap. So I pulled that back in the driveway, and we got in the Tahoe, went to the store, and I don't know why at Harbor Freight I couldn't find a tap and die set. Did they stop selling them, or I don't know. But so I just bought another welder, and it's the same welder. It was $120 now. But, you know, it is what it is. The other welder I've used to weld that entire trailer together, I mean, most of it. I did use a stick welder on part of it, but I don't weld that much. I mean, I want to weld more. I do, but what I need to do is find a good used welder, because I just don't have the money right now set aside for welders, you know. Especially with these cars breaking down like this. So, you know, sorry, my wire was messed up. So, I come home, I start working on the truck. Yeah, we came home. I worked on the car first. What I did was I cleared the code, and then it started it, and it wasn't misfiring anymore. So I decided to just change coil pack 1 and 2. I just swapped them, and it's not misfiring now. So, there's oil got spilled on these coil packs, or they're just dirty. Maybe they're compromised somehow. Maybe there's bad connections. I don't know. So basically what we'll do now is we'll just drive it. And we did take it to dinner last night, and it didn't misfire at all. And we'll just drive it. And I told her as soon as the light comes back on, let me know, and I'll go read it. Because what happened was it was misfiring on cylinder 4 and 1. So if it misfires now on cylinder 2 and 4, then I'll know that the coil packs, there's something with the coil packs, because I swapped those, right? And if it still misfires on 1 and 4, then I'll change spark plugs and see if that fixes it, because maybe it's a spark plug issue, because then at that point I'll know that it's not a coil pack, because the coil pack was good on 2, right? And now that coil pack is on cylinder 1. So, and maybe it was just a bad connection. I don't know. I need to clean in there. I need to clean the Tahoe's engine out, the engine bay out. It was really dusty. I don't know how it got so dusty. Maybe like the wind must have blown dust in there or something. It's like really like dustier than I've ever seen. I don't know how that worked, but maybe, yeah, I don't know. So yeah, so there's that. So on the trailer update, here's what happened. I basically got most of it. Let me grab my wire here. Let's see, because I do actually have some videos and stuff. Let's see if it will pull up here. Okay, so I need to get myself out of the way. Maybe make myself a little smaller too. So the trailer, I got a ton done. So I started the day basically with the cups, or the mounts for the airbags sort of mocked in, and they weren't like, yeah, they weren't like they weren't fully welded in, right? But I had them like sort of mocked in. Like here's that. Let's see if we can kind of make this a little. Let's see. Yeah. I don't know if I can. Yeah, I can't do that way. Hold on a second. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so you can see there I kind of mocked, I basically just, I took a U-bolt, and you can't really tell that well, but you can kind of see the U-bolt there. I took the U-bolt and put it through these holes, and I put the bottom mounting plate around the axle there. Like that bar there is the axle right in the middle of your screen. And that's so that I could like locate it before I welded it, right? So that it would just kind of hold still. That was a way to clamp it down. And with the top mounting plate here, I just clamped it to the frame with this C-clamp there. So that's how that went. And then what I did is I took these two bars, these like rods, and I stuck them right through the middle of each guy there, right? So then I could kind of tell where they were lining up with each other. And I think I got them lined up pretty well. I mean, it's probably not perfect, but this is just the way I do stuff. It's not going to be perfect. No matter what I do, it's not going to be perfect. So I've kind of just given up on trying to make things perfect because it doesn't work anyways. So then I basically did that for a while. Here's a little bit of a better picture here. So you can see what's going on. So that is clamped onto the axle there with the U-bolt. Yeah. And that worked. I mean, I don't know how other people do this, but I wanted to make sure that my my bottom brackets were kind of the same in relation to each other. So I didn't want to have one bag leaning while the other bag was flat, right? So I went through and found a piece of like angle iron and put it on there and basically, just kind of laid it across so that I knew it was, they were kind of equal to each other, and then I welded them. And so let's see. I welded the top cup and the bottom cup. So, or I call them cups. I guess they're like brackets, really. So like here's that. So, it's flux core. So it leaves a lot of spatter, like these little dots on the side here. I'm not that good at welding, so, it is what it is, but it's on there. I don't think it's going anywhere. Here's what I did with the bottom cup, or whatever you want to call it, the bottom bracket. The bracket itself was for a larger axle. The little hole, the U in it, was for a big one, so I put some plates in it to close that gap up. So that's what this is. See these plates right here? That's why there's weld, like right where I'm pointing and up and over. And I just basically like gobbed as much weld in there as I could just to make sure that thing was not going to come off. And it's not necessarily pretty, but it's going to work, and it's on there. It's not going anywhere. So that's the biggest thing, because you don't want this stuff breaking, right, while you're driving around or whatever. Here's the side view, and obviously I'll go take this thing for a lot of test drives and check all these welds and stuff as I go. It'll be like on my like pre-trip type situation to look at all this stuff. Make sure it's not breaking ever. Here's a collapsed side view type thing. That's where the tire is like up into the frame. So I took a floor jack there. There's a floor jack right here, and I just jacked up the that one side, and that's kind of how it ended up there. And I do have some video updates of this stuff. So here is how the arms turned out, the swing arms here. So this is a lot later in the day, and but basically I have these clamps here, and I know it kind of it doesn't exactly look straight, but the problem that I'm having is the U-bolts here are for a bigger axle, and I could not find U-bolts for this size of axle. On Amazon, I found some, but they're so small. Like uh, the size of the actual bar that they used is too small. It's like a 1/4 inch round. This is like 3/8 round, so I felt a lot more comfortable with this, even though they're bigger than the axle. Now I want to state this too, and I don't think I have any pictures of this, but it had 2 U-bolts on it holding the leaf springs on, okay? And they were for like a 2-inch axle or a 2 and whatever inch axle. So they were a lot bigger than the axle, and they were turned. So they were going over the axle at an angle like this, okay? Now this has probably been this way for who knows how many years. And then on the top, over the leaf spring, the mount that went this way was sideways over the leaf spring. So each leaf spring only had 1 U-bolt. So I'm good with this setup. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. If it does, what I'm going to do, if it moves at all, I'm going to just weld these plates to this arm, because it's where it's supposed to be. The axle is square with the trailer at this point. When it rolls up in, it rolls up pretty square. The thing is, when it rolls up in, though, I do have some side-to-side movement. And I don't know if it's going to move side to side when the bags are pumped up, because it does move side to side when the bags are empty. And I don't know if that's normal or not. Now, what I should say too is that I have not tightened these bolts. See those little bolts up in there? I have not tightened those. So I don't know if when I tighten those, if that side to side movement will go away. But basically I welded these tabs right here onto the frame, and then that's a bushing that goes through these arms down to here. So these arms actually move up with the suspension and So this doesn't look square because these holes, when I was drilling them, one of them kind of like, went off a little. So the holes are actually off. So the plate itself is actually twisted. So the U-bolts are square and the arm is square, but the plate is just twisted. It's not that big a deal, all right? So before you guys all go freaking out, if anybody ever never watches this one turned out a little better. It doesn't look square because of the angle of the picture, but it's actually a little squarer. The holes ended up being in the more correct place, And like I said, these U-bolts are a little bit bigger. I think it's going to be okay. And I guess I could probably beat on them a little, and I might be able to get them to bend. I tried to get some all thread and bend my own U-bolts, but I just don't have the capacity to do that. I need a good vise mounted that I don't have. So maybe that's another project. Okay, so basically the only thing that's left to do on this at this state is I need to put a bar, some sort of bar, or maybe a couple, from here, basically the top left, that frame there, all the way over across like this to here, maybe 2 bars. And the reason is because I do have a little bit, just a teeny bit of flex going in on this frame, and I want to stop that. Now, I'm not going to box the frame in like I thought I was going to, because it seems really super strong, and I'm not worried about that. But if I put something in between those, it will stop that flex from going in. And I don't even really think I need to. The other reason I'm going to do it is because the whole top of this is going to be plate sheet metal on top of it, or wood or something. I don't know, probably sheet metal. And I need some sort of framing going across to support that metal, right? So unless I use a thick piece of diamond plate or something, which I haven't sourced that material yet, so who knows, but it's probably going to be too expensive. So I'm probably going to end up putting frame stringers across anyways, just to save a little money, and we'll see how that goes. But so there's that. So, does it work? It worked. I don't I didn't see the only problem that I ended up seeing with it. So what I did is I took an old piece of tubing that I had of line. Here's a picture of it kind of squished. And I basically took an old piece of line. So I dropped the trailer. So I jacked up all the corners, undid the stabilizers, and I dropped the trailer down. Here's that U-bolt I was talking about. See, look how big that is. That was one side of one side holding that leaf spring on right there. That leaf spring was held on by that U-bolt. Okay, just one. And so that kind of needed to be addressed anyways, probably, but so I dropped it down. This isn't that full drop, but you see kind of how the bags squish. And what's interesting is that these bags, when they're fully squished, they touch the mounting plates. And I didn't think that was a good idea, but apparently that's how it's going to be, because that's how it is. So if I have issues, then I'll address them later, like maybe using a different style of bag or something like that. But that's what we're going to roll with for now. And I'm going to come up with some secondary way of traveling with this trailer, because if the bag blows out in the state it's in now, the trailer will be useless. It won't be able to be towed. And so, I might come up with something to shove it in the place of the bag to like make it, suspensionless or something. I don't know. Or maybe I'll just buy an extra bag and throw it in the trailer. And then if the bag ever pops, or if a bag ever pops, I'll just swap the bag real quick out there, right? Okay, so I got an air compressor, and I basically I pumped it up. I pumped up the bag. So here's the video of that. I don't know if you're gonna have audio or not. I guess I gotta turn it up here. So you see, if we watch that axle there, so it's going to play again. So watch the axle. Watch how far the axle moves forward. So when it's straight up and down, the way I did it, the bags are more or less straight up and down when it's full. And when it's empty, the axle moves backwards. It should be that way. See, watch that. See how it moves backwards? And that's something that I figured out along the way, learned on YouTube from somebody, and I kind of knew, I think from the beginning of this, that was going to happen. But that's why I was 3D printing these models, just to make sure that was all, like here's the model that I 3D printed, just because I knew that was going to happen, and I was able to figure out how much before I actually even started. It's like stuff like this is what 3D printers really are good for, is you can, make things in your mind and then in real life before spending time and money on materials that, because there's probably, in steel alone, there's probably a good $150 just in that back end. And I do have leftover of that, but just in those materials to get the bags mounted, well, plus the cups, the mounting brackets, probably $200. And I've never done this before, so I wanted to make sure that what I was doing was correct before I waste the material. Because if like the arms didn't work, that would be wasted, maybe. Or a lot of times you can cut that kind of stuff into something else, right? But yeah, it is what it is. So that's where I'm at today. I'm gonna try to find mounting places and build what I need to build to mount the air tank and the air compressor. And basically I might start getting that stuff, like I might get a schematic written out for how I'm gonna do everything. Sorry, I got to sneeze. I don't know what's going on. Okay, so I'm going to write down a schematic, and I might even do it on live. I might do it on my iPad, where I'm just going to like put down like what I need to plumb everything so that I can know in my head what I'm doing, because I have it in my head, but it's a little bit complicated. And then I need to buy one more airbag too. So we'll talk about the other airbag in a minute. But what I'm thinking is, if I make a schematic, because what I need is the air compressor and the air tank. They are going to work on one system it's going to have a little sensor that when it gets to whatever, I think below 150, it turns the compressor on. I don't know what PSI, but that system together, the tank and the compressor, will work at 150 PSI. Now, I don't know if I want 150 PSI in the bags. I'm too inexperienced to know what I want in the bags, so I bought a pressure regulator. And so that will be in between the bags and the tank. And I'll just manually turn it to whatever I want. And then I think they usually have like a little stopper guide that you can turn. So hopefully I'll be able to put a stop nut on that. So let's say I wanted it at 90. So I'll turn that to 90, put the stop nut on it, so it will regulate the bags to 90. Then if I have a leak while I'm driving down the road, the air compressor will turn on automatically and keep that side of the system at 150. And then that will automatically keep the bags at 90 with that manual crank, right? Pressure regulator. And I can adjust that. So I can turn that up to 150, right? To have it be full pressure, which I don't even know if it needs 150. I don't think I'm putting 150 in it right now, and it's at full, lift. So what I need the schematic for is there's going to be at least 2 valves, maybe more, and then that manual pressure regulator. Because on this system here, I'm going to have a remote that I push a button, and it will close one valve to separate the bags from the tank, and then it will open another valve to dump that side of the system so that all the air in the bags will dump out that other valve, right? Like, I don't know if there's such a thing as like a stop and waste valve, and that's really what I need. So I know I found on Amazon there was a normally open valve and a normally closed valve. So I could get those two, and that would dump the tanks. So basically I can just hit a button and this thing will dump. And then I hit the button again and it will fill up, or I hit a different button and it will fill up. Now, here's the problem though. I don't know how this works with these relays that I got. I have these relays on a like a remote, like a key fob. And I don't know if when you hit the button, do they turn the relay on and leave it on? Or does it just trigger the relay, right? So what I'm probably going to have to do, because my guess is it just triggers the relay. As long as you're pushing the button, the relay's triggered, right? So what I'm probably going to have to do is also program an Arduino so that the Arduino will notice the relay switch, then it will dump the bags, right? And then I'll hit the button again and it will notice the relay switch, and then it will fill the bags up, if that makes any sense. So I know I can program that thing with 2 buttons on the fob to where button 2 will fill the bags and button 1 will dump the bags. That is no problem. Can I program the thing to do every other one so it knows when the bags are dumped and it knows when to fill the bags? There's a couple ways that we could do that. Like, we could do it with like a switch, some sort of switch, so that the Arduino knows when the bags are empty and it knows when the bags are filled, right? And then when the bags are filled, you hit the button, it dumps. And when the bags are empty, you hit the button, it fills, right? Like we could do that. But probably what I'll do for simplicity is just have 2 buttons. And I'll just have a fill button and a drop button, and that'll be that. So we'll see. We'll see how that part of it goes. But the schematic. So what I need is a wiring schematic for all this stuff, and I need that schematic so that I know where to put all the valves, all the Y's, or, any T's, all that kind of stuff. And then on the front of the trailer, because you see right now, obviously this is only going to lift the back of the trailer, and it's a trailer. So like, right, if this was a mini truck, we would have bags on all 4 tires, but it's a trailer. And there's no tongue jack on this trailer. So what I'm going to do is, or what I'm going to try to do, I haven't designed this yet, is I'm going to try to get just like a plate, like a trailer tongue jack plate, basically. And I'm going to try to build an airbag on top of it and mount that to the side of the trailer, to the tongue of the trailer. And then it will have to have its own pressure regulator, and it will have to be tied into that system to where my 2 valves, when I hit the dump button, it dumps the tongue jack too, so that the whole trailer just goes down. And so basically, what I'll be able to do, since it has its own pressure regulator, and hopefully I'll be able to actually turn it onto the frame, just like a regular tongue jack, how you pull the pin and you lift up the part and it turns and locks in. So I'll probably have to buy a tongue jack, and I'll use that, and I'll just, take it apart and mount the bag on and weld it however I have to weld it. But just use the little turny mount for it, right? And basically, or if I can just buy that, then I will. But I don't know if you can. Yeah, I can. But so I guess I could just use the base of it and the turn part of it, and just ditch the jack part, right? But so then what will happen is I'll pull up to camp, and I'll go to unload the trailer, and I'll turn that manual regulator. I'll rotate my trailer jack down, my air jack. I'll turn the regulator till it pumps up the air and lifts up the trailer off of my ball. Then I'll pull the truck out, and then I'll dump the bags, and the whole thing will just go to its resting place, right? Then I'll lift out the bathroom, and, since we're going to have an Arduino, we can actually put in a motor on the crank for this thing. We could get a motor powerful enough to crank the thing up and then have a sensor at the top. I probably won't do this for a while if I do this, because I have way too much stuff to do already on the Suburban and everything. But I'm going to get this thing to just a working state, and I'm going to hand crank that bathroom up. I actually probably even could have the kid do it, because, he's good at that. But it only takes a second, and he can do it. He already did it. So to put the bathroom up, you just have to crank that thing, and then you put your pins in. And it's really easy. It's not that big a deal. So, and then I'll just hit the button and drop the bags, and it'll be set up, basically. Even at this state, too, so you'll see how low it goes here. It's not at full drop yet. I still need to cut these stabilizers because they're too long. So I'm going to cut them a couple inches off of them, because it still goes down 2 more inches. But even at this state, the step getting into the bathroom is good. So it's going to be better than that. It's at 11 inches. That's what we're going to get. I think when I had the jack underneath the axle, I was shooting for 8 inches of drop, and I only ended up getting 6.5 before it lifts the trailer off the ground. Okay. Now I'm going to be adding more weight back there, and it might be that once I get the more weight back there, it will give me the extra inches that I have. But for now, 11 inches on a step is fine. It's just a little bit taller than the step that's behind me that you can't see over there. But it's totally fine. We're going to have a grab handle, so yeah. Sorry, I keep rolling over my wires, and then I try to kick the wire out from under the chair. But anyway, so there we are. So there's an hour of not playing video games and talking about this trailer. Okay, so the truck. So I don't know if I talked about the truck, but I did diagnose it to, I think, a fuel pump. For whatever reason, fuel is not getting into the engine. So it looks like that tank is coming out and a new fuel pump is going in. Kind of all roads lead to Rome. I mean, it's got to be a fuel pump. At least that's a place to start. So maybe I'm wrong, but I think it is that. It's old, who knows. So I'll pull the tank. And I did go get 5 gallons of gas and put it in there just because, you always have to try the simplest thing first. Is it out of gas, right? You're not getting fuel up to the rail. Is it out of gas? You have to do it just to see. So I did put, I put about 4 gallons in. I don't think the stupid little gas tanks that they make these days, it just doesn't empty and it takes forever. And so I got 4 gallons in it. That should be enough. Plus it already had a quarter tank, which I know is low. And that's why the fuel pump is broken, because they overheat because I don't put enough gas in it. But old habits die hard. So there we go. So there's my trailer. I've been talking about it on this podcast this whole time, and I don't know that I've ever, besides last time, I've ever really shown it. But I have video of all this on the GoPro. This is coming off my phone. And so I'm going to start making videos. Oh, the roller coaster ride of yesterday. So I fixed the car, and then I diagnosed the truck, which is nice that it's not the new engine or, so it's probably fuel, like I said yesterday, and I thought that. I wasn't freaking out about it. This happens, especially the Chevys. All the Chevys I've had, the fuel pumps go out. That's just the way it is, but maybe it's my fault because I don't keep enough fuel in there. I don't know, but I'll fix it. But then, towards the end of the day, I did my taxes, which I hate that more than anything. But I did it and paid them. And so I am getting a return this year, which means the changes that I made to my withholdings last year worked, because the 2 years before that, the withholdings were too tight. I mean, they were just right there to where I was just barely where it was supposed to be, actually. Like, I know what I'm doing now. Like Dave Ramsey, which is a guy that I follow a lot of his advice. He says you want to keep that thing to 0, to where you're not paying and you're not getting money back, which makes sense because then you keep your money and you use it, right? Well, the problem is that I can't always save. I try to, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Well, it's kind of a forced savings plan. Letting the government take too much of your money and then giving it back to you. And it's a pain to pay. It's easier just to get a return. It like direct deposits. It's it's kind of nice. I don't know. Whatever. Besides, look what I'm doing. Look at my financial decisions. You guys see that? I took $100 trailer and I put $1,500 into it in metal and stuff. And maybe it's better if the government holds my money for me. This is the Hall e-bikes, by the way. This is what I do. So, it's not like I'm going to be the smartest with my money anyways. Because, this. But anyways, so, the day kind of started out bad. The night was bad, and it kind of got better as the day went on. The pump is only $150. It's $160 at O'Reilly. So I may go get one today. I may not. I don't know. The problem is there's 2 styles, and I'm not sure which one I need. So I don't know. Maybe I won't. I'll probably wait. Keep working on this trailer. Finish it, because I'm to the state now where it's almost going to need to be painted. Basically, I just need to put the decking in where I'm sitting and paint it. And the flooring in the bathroom, mount the toilet. And then the walls in the bathroom. And then from then, it's going to be things like wiring in components, the air like the air tank, the air compressor, the battery, the lights, all that type of stuff. I don't need the trailer sitting in the garage for that. So what I'll do is I'll just paint it, and as soon as it's painted, it's going outside, and that's where it's going to live, which should be, well, hopefully be this week. Today I'll work on mounting the compressor in the tank and getting it to a state to where it's movable, because the air compressor and the air tank are going to have to work to keep air in the airbags to move it around. It's not going to be able to, I don't think, actually, yeah, no, will it be able to move? I actually could technically move it with the bags drained all the way. There's no bump stops, though. So I don't really like that idea, because you really don't want that rubber like rubbing around on metal. It's going to wear a hole in it. So you want to have the bags pumped up while you're moving it. I think it's going to be all right to be flattened down on the bags. It's kind of the point. But yeah, so I'm going to put that system in, then paint it. And then it's going to need a battery, basically, to keep that system going. And probably what I'm going to do is rob the batteries off of my wagon for now, little lithium batteries that I have on there, and then maybe I'll mount the solar panel and have the solar panel charge those little batteries while it sits in the yard and keep the airbags full. That's probably what I'll do. I have one solar panel and a charge controller for it, but I don't have the battery. Then as soon as I'm ready to go camping, I'll get the battery and hook that up, and then figure out where the fridge is going to, all that stuff. So anyways, but that'll get it out of the garage. Then I can pull the Suburban in and start making videos and working on the Suburban, starting with the fuel pump, obviously. But then we need to go on the Suburban, we need to go into the switch panel on the front to control the 2x4, because we're going to turn the Suburban back into the old school, with the way they used to do it, where you could actually go to two-wheel drive, low range. That's what we're going to do. If I was able to do that before the motor blew, I wouldn't have blown the motor. If I would have had that idea and made it work before that. And I think the way to do it is there's an actuator on the front axle. We're going to wire a switch to that actuator to turn it off. So even if you hit the button on the dash to turn it to four-wheel drive, it will actuate the it'll shift the what's it called? It'll shift into low range on the transfer case, but it will not shift the front end over. So the front end will still be free spinning. It won't shift the differential in the front end. That's what I'm trying to say. So it won't link the transfer case to the tire in the front. So until you flip that switch, and then it will. So that's what we're gonna do. That way I can have low range and two-wheel drive, which I need for when I'm backing in the toy hauler. So basically, yeah. So, and then the other things we're going to need lights on the Suburban. Basically just, I need to rewire, like right now I have a 3-way switch, in there that's wired to like the air horn compressor. I have a compressor on the truck for air horns. I need to kind of shore up that a little bit, and then the transmission cooler as another transmission cooler, like a aftermarket one with a fan on it that I have a switch on so that it isn't on all the time. I just turn it on when I'm towing. And basically all that is kind of wired together because it was kind of temporary just to make it work. So I want that on its own switch. The air conditioning compressor now needs its own switch, because in the engine swap somehow we killed the computer for that. And I think I know how. I don't know why they decided to do this, but on those trucks, the positive side, at least on mine, maybe somebody put the wrong battery in at some point, but the positive side on mine is towards the frame. And we were jump starting it to roll the window down or something like that when we were towing it. And we ground it out. The jumper cable rolled over and touched the body, and it ground it out. And so that might have been when we fried that little AC board. But since it's my truck and I'm not selling it, I'm just going to wire in an AC button. So instead of the AC button over here on the right, it's going to be on the left. It's just going to be its own little switch that I push, and I will wire that up to ignition. So even if I forget and I leave it on, once I turn the ignition off, it will turn it off. And we'll go through all that as I do it. I'm going to make videos on all this stuff. I'm going to start filming again like crazy and editing like crazy. So basically, it's going to be new videos all the time. I don't know what, hopefully you guys aren't lagging out here. I don't know what channel I'll put these videos on. GFP, my other channel, is kind of at this point set up for the band practice live stream. So it does have the in the garage videos and all that on it, but I might just make a whole new channel and just try to push it, Here's what I might do. Leave the gaming and random podcasts on this channel. Make a new channel for that stuff. Just basically anything garage related. Maybe I'll call it In the Garage, which is, what I've been branding this stuff as. And just try to build it and get subscribers. And then, my other channel will just stay with the band stuff. And then that way it's all separated out. And what I can do is I can keep this content the way it is. I can keep the building content clean. So like no, weird talk or swear words or whatever that piss people off, that offend people. And then the GFP can just be the, Gone Wild channel, basically, because that's what that is. It's not for everybody. And this sort of stuff, you would kind of want to build your channel to the point that, like I do this, I show my kids channels like this. And they have a question about something. I'm like, well, let's look it up on YouTube. And I can look it up and anything. We can look at anything. Like they ask, whatever they ask, and I can show them. So, it's sometimes easier to teach your kids with showing them a video, and I know it's not the same as just giving them an iPad. That's not what I mean. Like we watch it together. Like we were learning how to weld. And, I could go out there and weld some stuff and show them, but I don't know what they're looking at. Or I can pull up YouTube and they can watch it on there and see, like, that helped me a lot to learn how to weld. And, same thing for them, right? My oldest learns really well with YouTube, so, yeah. And I've got to teach them this stuff, and anyway. So if I want to make a channel like this that's going to be educational at all, it needs to be clean, and that's what I was doing with my appliance videos. It's another thing. If I start that business again, I will make its own channel. So at that point, I'll just have all these channels, and, same thing with Maddie. I think we need to get her going on singing, and she's going to start teaching singing lessons. So that's one thing. But I think we really need to do the karaoke nights, or, really get and dive into making music again, which we are doing. That's going to be on Sundays, and I'm not going to be streaming that, because one thing that we might do with that, and we're thinking about doing, is the way that we're going to make the music videos and make the music is it's going to be anonymous. Sort of more or less copying Sleep Token, but will be less creepy. And so the idea there is that we will make music videos or whatever, but we'll just kind of cover our faces, and it will be egoless. It will just be, the idea here is to just make the best music that we can and let the music stand on its own. So send it out, and whoever likes it, well, whoever picks it up, whatever. If we can get a YouTube going with it or something like that and be making money, then great. If not, then whatever. Just the goal is to try to make the best music we can make and put it out, So, because I'm sitting around to hear all this equipment, and I would rather just make videos and put them on the internet and get paid, because it's kind of like an investment. You make the time investment, and if you do it right, that video might pay you for a long time. People might go back to watching that video for 10 years, and all those views for 10 years you might get paid off of, but you only had to do the work once, right? You did the work once, you got paid many times. That's the type of thing that we need to do, so that's the idea. And I think I can do it. If I edit these videos, I need to buy microphones. But once I buy microphones, this will be better. And I'll edit these videos just like this. And basically all of the trucks that I have to work on, all the chores I have to do, will get a video, and we'll get the Blazer in the garage and start building it, fix it up. It's got to be running. I can't have it sitting there anymore, So basically I've just got to get all 4 vehicles going. And the biggest thing it needs is it's leaking oil pretty bad. The transmission might be smoked, which I'll find another transmission just from sitting there. When I would start it and move it, it basically, I don't know, I think the last time it just wouldn't move. So it needs a transmission or a rebuild, which I'll find one. And then basically it needs a rear end. It tinks inside the rear end. So I don't know what's going on in there. But that'll be useful, because I've never done that before. So, but yeah, so there we are. So here's the update. The trailer is to this state. It's suspended. It could probably technically be moved right now. Things are mounted in. They're sort of bolted in, Basically, the bags are bolted. The arms, I would just need to tighten those 2 bolts, and then they would be bolted in. I think it's located correctly. I think it's square. It looks square. I really need to. I'm gonna go drive it down the road and have somebody follow me with the camera, and basically we'll see if it tracks right. I might have my brother go tow it around, or have him follow me. Behind in another car, or just film me in the middle of the street while I drive around to make sure that it tracks right. And if it doesn't, we'll adjust it. It is adjustable right now. So what I might do eventually is weld those tabs onto the swing arms so that the axle can't move. Once I get it, know it's exactly where I want it, then I'll weld those on, and then it won't be able to move, right? I'd have to break welds to move at that point. So basically, this is to a good state. The Suburban's not in a good state, but the Tahoe is. So I'll just drive the Tahoe. The Tahoe needs tires, so I'll put some tires on it, and it should be good. And then the car is up in the air. Who knows? It might need a tune-up. So when we were driving it to dinner and stuff, it wasn't misfiring. So I know I still have compression in those cylinders, and so it's not compression, which would be the worst case scenario. Basically, if there's no compression, then it's never going to run right. You're never going to get. It's always going to misfire. But if it's not a compression issue, then that means it's a spark issue or it's a fuel issue, right? Basically, what else would it be? Timing, bad connection to the coil pack, maybe. But since it ran fine, it's a random misfire type situation, so it's probably needs a tune-up. That's my guess. And I've never done one on that car. We put 60,000 miles on it. It's got 270,000 almost. So, and it doesn't leak oil. It burns oil, which they all do, probably that high mileage. It runs pretty good. I mean, the battery was replaced at one point. I've replaced some things on it and fixed some things here and there, but nothing crazy for what it was. I think the car has paid for itself in fuel savings. Because I think I only spent $3,000 on it. So, do the math on that. I don't know how much, let's say I'm $3,500 in it with parts over the years. How much is, I rebuilt the battery twice. Yeah, I don't know. The math is complicated. Okay, so we need to level up to level 29, get into this Borderlands. We're an hour into this podcast and haven't even played any Borderlands. Not like anybody watches this crap anyways. The other thing, too, is that, oh, sweet, it got done. I don't know how well any of that went, because in the background of this computer, I was uploading all of my GoPro footage from yesterday, and other days passed. And so, I guess that's the testament to this i9 here I got running in this thing is as long as you can keep it cool, you can kind of multitask really well, which is the point. What are you doing? You just chilling? Just hanging out, freezing to death over here? Anyways. So, I've just got a lot going on, but I'm glad I got my taxes done. I need to do that in February from now on. Just as soon as I get my W-2, just get it done. Because I used to do that. In the last couple of years, I kind of just been dragging my feet. I think last year I did it in March. This year, obviously, it's April now. And so it's just I need to figure out when I'm going to do it. I need to do it earlier is what I need to do. Well, that's good. I froze that guy. Froze that guy. I think I like this frozen gun when it works. It doesn't always seem to freeze them. See, like that. This one's not freezing for some reason. And then it just doesn't really damage them very much either. It's because they had a shield, I guess, maybe. I don't know. I'll go through and level up here before we go try the boss again, though. Might even need to get to level 30. The boss is too hard to beat. I thought I was going to be done with this game last week because of the boss, but maybe I need to look up how to kill the boss too. Basically, I need to get my taxes done earlier in the year. And then I need to, on all this other stuff, I just need to start filming it and trying to utilize it. It's stuff that I have to do anyways. I might as well try to get a video out of it that you never know. If I can get enough subscribers, some of those Blazer videos have 20,000 views on them. It's if I could get this Blazer back in the shop and built, it could be good because it's, it's old. I don't know if these, who knows what is going to turn into something that's popular for, like a C10, right? An old C10, all the car people want to build them, they all want them. It's one of those cars that kind of everybody, or an old truck that everybody likes, that have turned into classics, right? I don't think that the Blazer is going to be that, but you're seeing less and less of them around. My idea with my life is to just fix this thing up and drive it my whole life, be one of those guys that you see right now that are driving an old car from the 50s or 60s or 40s or whatever, that you see them every once in a while. Last night we were getting dinner and I don't know what this thing was. It was an old pickup truck, that had been restored or had been kept good this whole time. And, the old guy in there, he can barely crank the wheel because there's no power steering and he's just struggling trying to pull out of his parking spot. Yeah, it's just, I would like to, be that guy, I guess, and when I get old, just driving my old truck to get a burger, right? I don't know why that's appealing. This is so much work to keep these freaking vehicles running. Of course, yesterday I was just thinking I should just get a truck payment. It's the thing won't be leaking oil maybe, and maybe it'll be nicer. I don't know, but it's just not the right answer. I can't afford it anyways. I gotta pay cash for this stuff. It's just the way it has to be. So, and I know eventually it will work out and everything that I'm doing is the right thing, but you just second guess. And you're sitting there with broken vehicles. You go from 3 running vehicles to 1, and it needs tires in a day, and then back to 2, and the other one needs a fuel pump. So it's you just don't know what's going to happen, So, yeah. So whatever, but we need to level up here. That's what we need to do now. Yeah. I wonder, hopefully this trailer is going to work out really well. I think it is. So far it's looking good. I like the airbags. I like the way that it's working. I might not get a full 8 inches of drop, but I don't really need it. It's the way it is right now. I could just use it for the drop that it has. It didn't really go, the towers didn't go up into my bed space that much. So it's not like they're really impeding on my cargo area. It's only about, just a little bit. I don't know. I guess it's probably I guess it's 6 inches up, which isn't that bad. So I'll be right back. All right. All right. So we need to level up. Look up how to kill this guy better. This isn't probably even the best place to level up. I wonder if we should go get SD upgrades too. Go get the storage deck. Let's see. How do I go back? I need to go back over here. So let's go do that. So I don't think I need the backpack upgrade anymore because this game's basically over. So if we go over here, I think there's a fast travel over here. Let's travel back and get maybe the sniper rifle ammo. If there's a rocket launcher, that one would probably be good. And the pistol upgrade. Let's see, where is the What do I want to do for that? Concordia. We could probably do gamble away the rest of our money too, right? So might as well just do that, I guess.
I haven't forgotten what I was doing.
Get a bunch more moonstone, and then go buy more upgrades. But yeah, I think the trailer's going good. Maybe this week I could get the decking on, go find some material to put the back deck in, and then finish that off, and then paint it all, and then finish off the interior of the bathroom, wiring, all that kind of stuff this week or next week. That would be good. Get it done. Because then it's just going to be, cranking on the Suburban to get those things done on it. Basically, in May, I have a trip. I know my mom wanted to go in April, but I don't think that's going to work. That might not happen. Just because the truck. I need this stuff to be, like, super good. And what we might do is just pull the toy hauler out for that one. And I won't have this trailer done for that trip. But the May trip, I think on the May trip I need to have this trailer done. I don't think we're gonna take the toy hauler up there. It's kind of hard to tow it where we're going in May. There's like this big there's this kind of a pretty steep hill to pull it up, in which I've pulled it up Parley's a couple times, which is another steep hill near me. But basically, yeah, I'm just trying to... This is going to be the camping situation. This new trailer is going to be the camping situation for the steep hills. Because towing the big toy hauler up and down these hills is not necessarily fun. Like, I want to just be able to cruise, like 75. Sometimes the speed limit's 80 in these places, and I just want to be able to... Like, I could probably get there in, 2.5 hours with this setup, instead of 4.5. That's the idea, right? It's just to be able to run down there, camp for a weekend, run back. So we'll see how it goes, I guess. See how much we can sort of stand as a family, sort of tenting it. It's sort of tenting, because there will be a tent, but it's not a, and if we really like this system, then the next thing that will happen to the Suburban is a diesel heater. Except it might be the gasoline version, so I can just kind of tap into the tank that I already have there, and just basically, use the fuel that's in the truck. Like, I feel like that would be better than having another diesel tank and all that. It's just more. But I was looking at I was down there on the truck looking at something. So there's a rear heater, right? And the coolant lines, I knew this already. They run them underneath the body on the passenger side to the rear heater core, right? And they just go up along, and then they shoot up into the truck back there. Well, there's already tees or fittings there that I think you could just take off and modify to build in a circulation pump and two more valves to basically, it would close off. The valves would close off the coolant from the engine and just create its own little loop right there between the heater core and another heater core that you could build in front of a diesel heater. So the diesel heater would never go inside the truck. So you wouldn't have to worry about cutting the truck up or anything. You wouldn't even modifying the truck. You'd just be modifying the coolant system with new T's and valves to just make a new system there to go to the diesel heater. And then all you would do is wire in a different switch setup to your fan, to only the rear fan, right? And so circulation pump to pump the coolant around, and it would just pump it from the diesel heater outside into the truck, and then into that heater core, which your fan would blow across, and then you already have ducted heating in the back of the Suburban. So you can put all this stuff on Arduinos and thermostats. So this is kind of, if we like this style of camping, I think this is what we're going to do. Because then you could have a heater. You could do winter camping in your truck. You could have that heater running while you're sitting around the campfire. You know, kids want to go to bed. They go climb in the truck. It's warm. They can do what they need to do there. You know, your bathroom situation is still cold. That's the only really downside to this, because the bathroom's on the trailer. And you could like set yourself up a little offshoot off your diesel heater, right? That a little like duct, send it over and plug it into your bathroom. You know, that might work. I don't know. Who knows? You get that insulated ducting from, you know, the hardware store, maybe. But probably not. It's probably not worth it for all that, but yeah. And really just start the truck, you know, if it really gets cold. I mean, okay, what are we doing? We probably don't need that. This might be useful. No. 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 No white guns. Already unlocked. All these, which I don't even ever use those anyways. Okay, and then they equipped. What is the... While we're down here, where is that thing? Is it this guy? So, we could do grenades too. So the main one we wanted to start with, I think, is the sniper rifle, because we have a really good sniper rifle.
Don't tell anybody where you got that.
Let's just burn. Yeah, this is going to be a lot better. Insufficient funds. How many do I have? 59, and I need 100 for that. Let's go keep gambling and see how far we can get. Because, I mean, that gun is good if we had the ammo. I think that might help a lot in killing that guy. Yeah. So anyways, you know, I think this, and the biking too, like, you know, we used to use four-wheelers a lot, and side-by-side and stuff like that, but the side-by-side is so loud that it's just almost, it's just not the same. We took these bikes out last year because the truck broke. We went camping anyways in the Tahoe, and we took our bikes, and it was going out riding. It's just like the nature is peaceful and quiet, and there's not like this loud engine. I know that seems weird, but it was better, so that's what we're doing. I think eventually, if we do go back to four-wheelers, this is going to sound weird too, but we might just go to electric four-wheelers. You know, I don't know about that. It's like I still have four-wheelers. I think we're still going to do both. My plan is to get a different trailer that will hold more four-wheelers, and then to get a two-seater. And basically we'll have 3. So we'll have mine, we'll have my kids, and then we'll have another one that's a 2-seater that the wife and the other kid can ride on until he's old enough. Then we'll get him one, or we'll get the oldest kid a bigger one, and the little one will get the little one. You know what I mean? Like hand me down. I know it sucks that he has to do that, but that's just the way it is. So it'll be more like, because the side-by-side it's loud. The engine is in the middle. It's a middle engine, the one that we had. And it's so loud. Like, you know, the four-wheelers are not that loud. I don't mind the noise of the four-wheelers. You still can't talk to each other because you're on different machines. But I was kind of thinking that the side-by-side would be more like a Jeep. And it just wasn't. it's just so loud, that, yeah, I mean, I was just kind of happy to sell that thing, really. I mean, yeah. So, and I'm going to be happier to do this, I think, to do biking or Surons or biking and four-wheelers, but four-wheelers, not the side-by-side. The side-by-side worked good for when they were, like, young. The young, we taking them out when they're young on a four-wheeler is it just didn't seem like the best thing to do, because if you roll or whatever, at least when they're a little bigger, they would be kind of able to take, the injury a little better if that were to happen, but hopefully not, and they can kind of hold on, whereas, when they're younger, it's not like, yeah, my youngest would fall asleep on the side-by-side all the time. Hopefully he doesn't do that if we get a two-seater, can't be falling asleep on the four-wheeler. But that's the kind of the plan, is to sell the toy hauler and buy a covered trailer, like a utility trailer, an enclosed trailer that I just build into a toy hauler that's custom to what we need. So just enough, just basically to hold 2 large four-wheelers and 2 small four-wheelers, and call it good. Or a flatbed trailer if we like sleeping in the Suburban. A bigger flatbed trailer
Sweet loot.
that will hold it, and that will hold the four-wheelers, and just build another bathroom onto it, just like I'm doing right now. Just build, a bathroom on the front and then kind of like a crawler hauler, right? Like they have I saw this dude who built a bus. It was kind of like a schoolie, but not really. I mean, the living quarters weren't really like what you would think, but the whole back of it was just empty, and he cut the back of it off and put hinges on it. So the whole back of the bus just swung open like a big door. And he could pull 2 Jeeps into the bus. So 2 Jeeps in the bus, and then he towed a trailer that could haul 2 Jeeps. So the dude was in a schoolie. He could haul 4 Jeeps to camp or whatever, and then the schoolie was like it was kind of more like a makeshift place to sleep, or it wasn't like built out like you see in some of these, but yeah, I don't know, it looked good. It's like that's another thing that we could do, is we could get a school bus and then modify the back of it so that we can open it and just put the four-wheelers in it, you know what I mean? And then build the front half into a house, back half into four-wheeler hauler, basically. Which, we do want to build a schoolie at some point. That might be like the retirement plan type thing, but who knows? Just go cruise around traveling in a school bus. Like, I would do that. So what do I need 100. Either need 100 moonstone, or I can upgrade some of these other weapons. Ammo, but yeah, I've spent 40 grand on gambling. This is why you want to do this early in the game too, because you look at how much it costs now to gamble. And I know that there's you're not earning as much early in the game, but it is a lot cheaper. Which I did it for a while, but I didn't do the upgrades on the weapons. I only did the backpack upgrade to get more loot. Yeah, so I can't wait for this game to come out, Borderlands 4, and then I do need to get the Final Fantasy remake. I got the first one and I played through it. So they broke it up into 3 parts, and so the second part came out this year, which was part of the reason why I bought this PlayStation. But then I just didn't get the second one because I don't think they released it on PS4, or they weren't going to, or something. So I didn't get it yet, but I'll get it. I've got too much stuff going on right now anyways. And basically I'll only do like 4 hours of gaming a week, or 4 hours of adult gaming, I should say, or something like that. 4 or 6, depending on when I wake up. If I wake up early enough, like today, I would be doing Minecraft Dungeons with Declan, but he's gone to Grandma's house, so I'm just gonna keep playing this until it's time to go work on that trailer again. So today, the goal will be to mount the compressor, or at least to build the brackets or whatever for the compressor and the air tank, and maybe start plumbing it. Maybe if I can get it plumbed today to the point that we can move the trailer, that would be good. It doesn't have to necessarily be done, and it won't be because I don't have all the valves. I don't have the normally closed valve. I only have the normally open valve. And so I need to get that valve, and so I'll just plumb it to a state to where it can be moved, to where the bags can be pumped up and it can be towed, and we can go kind of start testing, making sure we're good, and to the point that we can paint it and shove it out of the garage, clean the garage really well, shove the Suburban in the garage, which means I need to build my tow bar. I got some of the parts for it, and basically what I'm going to do is build a tow bar that goes into the hitch receiver on one of the trucks and hooks to a ball on the other truck, and just hook the two trucks together and be able to push the truck up the driveway and into the, I don't know if this is going to work. I might need some sort of U-joint. I do have a CV axle on the side of the yard that I wish I could use for this. But I think if anybody's listening to this, I don't know, I think I can't pull with it because it will pull it apart, right? Like there's nothing to hold it together like a U-joint. So I think I need a U-joint, basically, but I don't know. Maybe that wouldn't even work. Who knows? But I just need a bar to push the truck up, push one truck with the other truck up into the garage. I have in front of my garage, there's a small hill. It's not very steep, but it looks like we're almost done here. I don't know if I got to my 100. Got a lot of grenades. So anyways, that's what I need to do. Because the Suburban's dead. It's not starting. Nothing I can do to get it to run. So basically I need to get it in the garage jacked up really high, and then start tearing it apart from in there. But before I do that, I need to like really deep clean the garage, because there's a lot of stuff everywhere. There's like metal everywhere. There's tools everywhere. I just like, and Maddie gets out there to kind of hang out with me. She's like, I don't know how you work like this, because there's just stuff everywhere. I don't work clean that well. I probably would work better clean, but the way I work is I just throw everything everywhere, and it's within reach for months and months and months while I do these things. And I just do it like an hour a day, and I go out there and all the stuff's there, and it's just, it is what it is. I like that. I think that's good. It is what it is. Just there's crap everywhere, and I just grab it and use it and put it down, and then it's there when I need to use it again. I need to organize it. I'm sure things would be a lot better if I did, but whatever. Don't do it perfect. Just do it. Maybe that's what I need. Okay, so we're not going to make it to 100, I don't think. I'm pretty much done. Let's go. Well, I might as well go finish off what I have. But we'll get what we can on the pistol, because I think this pistol is decent with the explosive damage. Go finish this game off, maybe. It might be next week. Maybe we'll have to upgrade, or have to level up once, and then next week maybe we'll be able to take that dude out. And then maybe hopefully next week I'll be painting that trailer, shoving it outside, and then the Suburban will just be everything. It'll be fuel, it'll be oil leak, fuel pump, find the coolant leak, clean off all the oil from underneath it, and start wiring. It's gonna need wiring of a bunch of stuff, I guess, to put the awning back on it. Basically, decide if I think I'm gonna put solar panels on top of it.
Quality work right there.
Purple gun. And going into camping season, basically the truck just needs to be solid. It has good tires. The rims are good. I also need to do the park brake doesn't work. It's disconnected. And I think those brakes are hard to take apart because of the rear axle is like, I can't remember. I took the wheel off one time to look at it and decided it was too hard and put it back on and gave up. But I need to get that working. Just make the whole thing as solid as possible. I also need to do things like add in inverter system into the interior. I want to modernize the interior to USB ports everywhere, 110 plugs everywhere, so that you can just pretty much charge anything anywhere. So have ports near the bed, have ports in the back seat for the kids, and they can charge their crap, to where I don't have to be like right now we're running cords at times from the front of the truck to the middle of the truck where they sit, right? And it's just not good. I want to have we rented this little minivan, and there was like a USB port right in the back of the seat, in the back seat, in the back of the front seat. So you're sitting here, you got your USB port right in front of you. You just plug your crap in right there, the kids in the back. I've even thought about buying bucket seats and replacing the rear bench, the middle bench, with 2 bucket seats. I decided against it because I need that to fold down and I need that to turn into a bed. But I thought about that and then building like a custom center console for them to have like their chargers and plug all their crap in there or whatever. Okay, so what do we need? We need pistol. Actually, let's just max the pistol and what else? This one.
Holy crap!
Well,
I done sold it.
there we go.
Don't come back now, you hear?
All right, so let's go level up now. Work on that. It's either level up now or quit this game and go make a schematic of what we have to do. And I'll probably just do that on my iPad. Too bad I don't have my stylus. I used to have a stylus that I would do the stuff with, but I don't know where it is. So we might not do that. Do we have any shift keys? Wonder if we should hit the shift box.
I am talking to myself.
That's the other thing too, is we'll have to live stream the new game and hit the shift keys. Okay, I got some shift keys here. So where's the shift? Where's the actual box? Is it over here? See if we can get some good guns while we're at it. Here we go. Okay. I don't know if these are good or not. Winning skill. Alright. It's not really what I wanted. Shift machine, but let's try again. Pull the trigger. Alright. These are worse than what I have. Except this one absorbs bullets, so that might be good. Running out of ammo. That one drops a booster shield. But what do I have now for a shield? 1479 and an explosion. Even though these are purple, the one I have seems better. This one might be better other than, well, yeah. The recharge rate and the recharge delay is a lot higher. So I don't know. I might use this one. We'll see here. Okay, what else do we got? We're looking for super guns machine. Okay, if only that was not against flesh, but maybe it'll work. It does have high damage. 505. Probably not that one. Okay, we got one more shift key. Let's see what happens here. Okay. If only it was something else. I guess these are alright. Alright, so I don't know if the fire guns really work on the dude, but they do have a lot more damage, so let's try to equip this up here.
Let me see.
I mean, what I'm thinking is that we're just going to have to try to use... let's see. So I got that one. I don't think this one's very good. So let's go for damage. So let's equip this one there, and then on this one, instead of it being that, we'll try this one because it's high damage on the pistol. Do we have anything better in a pistol? Probably not. Like maybe this one because it might freeze the guys, but it's not very good damage. I got this one is 344 damage. Right, so it's a lot higher. I'll probably sell some of these green guns, these white ones, before we go to... Alright, well, there we go. So let's go see what these guns do. Maybe they'll work, maybe they won't. Yeah, I don't think that one's very good. No. Like I said, I'm not going to prestige, so I'm not really worried about the drops. I'm going to go in with kind of a full backpack, fuller than I would normally on a guy like this. Just so I have options to switch things out, you know. I'm not going to use this one at all. I might use this one. And I don't know about these ones here. So United front skill, hold the line. Like, I don't know if that is useful or not, right? I can't even use this one. So I guess I should sell that. All right, let's go see how these guns do out there. All right. So this was the fire one. Okay, there's a guy. Is this actually better than the other sniper that I had? I don't know. It doesn't seem to be. Seems like the other sniper worked better on these guys. Like that guy's only level 25. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there was any burning guys in this area. Principal Guardian. I mean, seems to work pretty good. Plus having that ammo, that extra ammo capacity, it's going to make a big difference on these snipers. You know, and I can't believe I'm using snipers. I beat all these games without using sniper rifles ever. It's like now this is the best guns that I have now are seemingly sniper rifles. See, and it's just not really doing it on the shields. So that did pretty good once the shield was gone. Right? Where's that OFA thing at? So we need to test these guns. There it is. So how does this thing do? It looks like it does pretty good actually on that thing. Alright, so we're doing better than we were. But yeah, that thing died way faster. So hitting the shift key might have been the way to go. Let's see how... Probably doesn't do that well on these, but might be sort of alright. What else do we have here? We have this gun. This gun shoots really slow. It's really hard to pulling the trigger a lot more than it's actually shooting, so I don't like that. So is this the fire gun that? Yeah. So we need it. This gun's no good. So let's go back to either the freeze one that I had there or some sort of other style. I don't know if we should try this. Like I really want, like maybe that one, but it's just so low on damage. Oh, maybe this one. Let's try this one because it's higher on damage. It shoots faster, and it has electrocute. So, come on, you gotta go.
I'm back.
Yeah, it might be alright.
Shield activated.
Like, I still probably need to get to 29 before I can really go affect the boss. But it'll probably be next week. So this gun's alright. It's not super duper. I mean, this is my rocket launcher. I don't know. It has high damage. I mean, it's just there are like these, but I don't think you really get the elemental effect that well in rocket launchers. You know, it's like sort of not that great. So let's try that pistol out though. Where's the? I had the pistol that was cryo. See, it's a lot lower in that, but let's see if it freezes. So if it freezes, the lower damage doesn't really matter. If the guys will stop moving around, they're easier to hit. You know, you waste less bullets on them and stuff like that. Where is it? Let's see. Got another OFA here. Well, the OFA freeze. Not really. So this is not working for that. What about this thing? So it's going to be an issue because those flying things are kind of always re-healing it, right? These things. And it just makes a new one. Where in the crap did it go? Okay, this isn't working. I wish that they had guns that I could shoot multiple things with, because it just plops a new one out every time I get it. You know? Let's see. What about the rocket launcher? Just have to rocket launcher this thing. So then it kind of kills that thing that's floating around it too. Alright, what else do we got here? Got this guy up here. So this gun is just kind of useless, I guess. Oh, got that guy. See, that freeze can really help sometimes. Alright, where are you guys at?
There's no coming back from that.
gonna have to kill a lot of guys to get to level 25 or 29. We might just have to go try the boss again with these different guns. Looks like these guys are below the platform. And also, you know, like I was saying last time, I don't remember having to kill him that many times before he sort of changed. Let's go into here and see what happens.
Shield activated.
Guess I better put my shield up because I'm low on. I need to look up the best strategy for this thing. We'll try it one more time and then probably quit. Go work on the trailer.
This is it, everybody! Kill this Guardian and the vault's ours!
Oh, great.
So it is taking fire damage, like after I, you know, finish shooting it or whatever. Oh good, I'm already out of ammo there. So how is this thing gonna do? Electro damage. Like maybe I have to do this like 3 times or something and I don't remember. So it's gonna probably go down here. So go down. So see if we can find any bullets here.
Just keep shooting, fools.
Let's get this figured out here. Get my health built back up with my shield. Or not. Or I'll just die. Let's see, where is the guy at? No. There we go. Come on. Almost. Nice. Almost didn't make it that time.
Shield deployed.
Alright, where are you at? Let's not try to run around and get my health back up. It just doesn't work. Might as well just stay on the offense. Almost down anyways. Where are you at? I hate how they're always like jumping around and disappearing and stuff. It's like, how does that help? Oh, good. Didn't I get him? Yeah, now he's coming back again. See. Come on. No, don't run away. Oh, jeez. Yeah, I just can't do it. Need to be higher leveled. So next week, I guess I'll just level up. I think I'm just going to, end it here. What I might do is just start sort of drawing out the schematic. Because basically we need to go from the air tank. Yeah. We need to go from the air tank to whatever. Let's see. Let's switch to this here. Then I'll end the game. And I think the next game I might go to like old school. Might go through like Metroid or Super Metroid or something like that. I don't know. Let's see if we can get this iPad set up here. Do a schematic real quick. So sometimes I do this on the iPad. You can just go to your notes. I don't know if anybody else ever does this. I'm just going to make a new note. I'll expand it out here. And let's see how this looks. Okay, I think it looks pretty good. So we might have to adjust it a little because I had the same thing hooked up to the phone, which means that the sizing is wrong. So let's fix this here. Okay, let me just shrink that down. Okay, so here we have a new note. And what I do is I just click on the markup. And this is kind of an easy way that you can just like chart things out a little bit. Let me get this keyboard out of my way here so that I can see what I'm doing kind of. Okay, so, you know, when you have like these tools down here like this, you have this ruler which can help with stuff. You can kind of turn it and stuff like that. So if you do make a mark you don't want, there's this little arrow down here. So basically what we need to do, and I'm not good at drawing at all, but what we're going to have is the airbags, we'll say down here. Okay. So this will be at the suspension, you know, the airbags. And then we're going to have an air tank. It's kind of going to be like up here. Okay, we'll say this is the air tank. And then there's going to be the air compressor, you know, which I'm just going to have to draw like that because I don't know how to draw. So what I need is these can be teed. Let's use a different color for our airline. Let's say our airline is blue. These can be teed like this, okay? We'll do a fitting here. We'll do a red T fitting there. And obviously this needs to be connected to this, right? Because the air will pump up from the air compressor to the air tank. And then these sides, you know, actually let's do this. Let's say that our 150 PSI side will be in green, right? And so it might tee off the compressor into there, or I might be able to just have its own separate port coming off of the air tank. So on the air tank, there needs to be a 150 PSI sensor. Let's say that that's like right there in the yellow. And so it is connected with wires. What are we going to do for wires? Basically to a relay. So wires come out of it, you know, I'm at the top of my thing. And they connect to the air compressor to turn it on through a relay. Or however that works. Or are they tied in directly? I don't know, but it turns the compressor on. That's the way it works. So it might be the hot side or the ground. It would be the hot side probably, and it turns the compressor on. So then that always fills this up to 150 PSI, right? The tank. But our airbags, I think they need to be at like 90. You know, I don't know this for sure, but so basically in the middle of the whole system, like right here, is a pressure regulator. Okay. So pressure regulator there. So what we end up with is 90 PSI on the blue side and 150 on the green side there. Okay. So let's say that this is like this. So what we add in is a valve. So like a little valve here that's normally open. Okay. So as we're driving down the road, up here in our tank, the air compressor is getting 150. 150 is going through all these green lines here, right? And then the pressure regulator drops it to 90. So now we have 90 coming to our bags. So then there's a relay. You know, we have a relay that's connected, a relay here that's connected to a remote. And what it does is it triggers, basically, it triggers this switch here and closes this valve. So now this valve here is closed, the normally open valve. And then we need another valve somewhere else over here that's normally closed, right? And so whenever that thing triggers, when this relay triggers, it triggers both of these valves. And so the normally open one closes and cuts off all the air. And then the normally closed one opens and dumps the bags. So it releases all the bags air out, right? So I don't know if this makes any sense or not, but basically what I need to go do is I need to mount the air compressor here, and I need to mount the air tank here, and then set up some sort of temporary system for all of this stuff. I have these two valves right here, or these two components, but I don't have this one. I don't have the normally closed component. Oh, and I forgot that's what the ruler's for. It makes it so you can draw straight lines. But so since I don't have the normally closed component, I won't be able to dump the bags. But I should be able to get some rough mock-up of at least these components right here today, and then get some sort of like temporary wiring job into the temporary battery to be able to just sort of shove this thing out into the yard, sort of half done, and get the Suburban in and get it going. Because what I can do is I can wire this stuff outside in the yard as I get time and sort of put it together. It doesn't need to be in the garage for that. Neither does the Suburban, but it also kind of does, because there's no real good, easy place to work on it out there, because I have a sloped driveway, and it's not fun to work on cars when they're on jack stands on a slope. It's kind of freaky, you know. So I'd rather have this outside to wire as I go, and then that inside, the Suburban inside, to wire and do the fuel pump and all that. So basically this is where I'm at. So this is what I'm going to try to do today. Create a self-sufficient system to where the air compressor and air tank will pump these bags up and keep them pumped up. So I won't be able to dump the bags yet because I don't have this normally closed valve here. But I will be able to, and I don't even need to hook up this normally open valve yet. It's, you know, it basically has an in and an out. So you could put your piping, you know, your tube right here without it. And just at any point, oh, look at that, it drew the arrow all perfect for me. At any point, you can just cut that line and insert this valve, because it just goes on both sides, right? It just, you know, the two tubes will just like poke into it, basically. So this is what I need to do today. And then once all this is figured out, and basically the mounting brackets for stuff like this tank up here and like this thing, they will need to be painted. So I need to fabricate them and then take all this stuff back off and paint it all and then put it all back together so it doesn't rust. Because that's basically the steps that I have to go through, is build it, then take it all back apart, paint it, and then put it all back together. And then it'll still rust anyways in areas that I miss paint on or whatever else, but I just try to make an effort, you know, to make it look somewhat nice and not just all rusty everywhere. So that's the deal. And for the paint, I'm going to be using a Rust-Oleum oil-based brush on or roll-on paint. I used this on my other trailer. I painted the whole thing with it. And it has held up to some abuse. Some of it has come off in places, but it's where you would expect it to, because it's like on the decking of the trailer, and that trailer gets beat up. So but it really has held up well. When I first put it on, I put it on too thick, so I learned that I do have to put it in thin coats. Because what I did is that trailer is a workhorse. It just gets abused. And so I just slathered it on there as thick as I could, trying to, make it last longer. Because basically all the other paint I had would rust through. It would eventually just rust through. It's just the way it was. I don't know. I should probably do something different, but I don't. So here we are. So yeah, so this is what I'm going to go do. So I guess I'm going to end the stream now and go do this today. And hopefully it will go well. And if I remember, I'll update tomorrow. The games are done on my other channel. So as far as projects go, the only project I have is this trailer. And so in the truck. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to regular podcasts every day. So tomorrow, this is today's. Tomorrow I'm going to go through my normal routine as long as I remember and do it, my old routine before the games. So play my instruments, do this podcast, do my workouts, and probably be done with all that around like 3 o'clock. And then I need to do an engineering class with my kids, which right now we're working on RC car parts, which we free CAD them up and then print them and then put them on the RC car and then go try to break them, which we did. We already broke the control arm we made. But what we did this time is we reprinted it in TPU. So now it might have some give. So instead of PLA where it would just break, the TPU might just flex a little, and it's just this little RC car. So a control arm that's a little flexible isn't a big deal. I think it's going to be all right. We haven't tried it yet though. It's, it's an experiment. We'll see what happens. We bought bearings for these control arms because it's more like a knuckle, it holds the bearing and everything. And it worked pretty well, but the bearings came out of the knuckle at one point. And so we lost our axle again, which is not a big deal. We can buy more, but yeah. So it's nice to be able to break RC cars and then 3D print new parts for them. So I think I'm just going to keep doing that. Already tired and it's barely the morning. All right, well, if you made it through all that, thanks for watching and welcome to the show, I guess, because that's basically what this is. I'm going to start making a lot more YouTube content and videos, and I have to do this stuff anyway, so I might as well just film it and post it on the internet. At the very least, maybe it will help somebody, So, yeah, comment, subscribe, whatever, all that fun stuff. Bye.